Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Women Who Lead. I'm your host, Teresa Palacios Smith, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from today's guest. This episode is titled Steadfast Leaders, and it's about a kind of leadership we all recognize when we see it: steady, thoughtful, and grounded, especially in moments of change or uncertainty. It's the kind of leadership that doesn't have to be loud to be powerful because it's rooted in character, care, and consistency. So grab your cafecito, everyone, your favorite coffee mug, and drink and settle in because I think you're going to enjoy getting to know our guests and hearing their perspectives on leadership. So let's meet them. So introducing first, I'm honored and to welcome MaryAnn Vitale Alles. She's the CEO and president of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Select Properties, a respected enterprise leader whose strategic vision, culture stewardship, and unwavering standards have shaped one of the most admired brokerages in the Midwest. Welcome, MaryAnn. I'm so happy to have you here on the show.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I'm thrilled to be here and honored that you asked me to be here.
And I
Um,
know it's hard getting you here because you're so busy. And we know why in a few minutes, right? We'll talk about that.
yeah.
Next, we have Amy Gant. Amy is the Senior Vice President and Regional Manager of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Georgia Properties, where I came from. So, Amy and I know each other and go way back. A trusted executive known for her steady leadership, thoughtful decision making, and deep commitment to developing strong, capable leaders. Amy, I'm thrilled to have you with us as well.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here.
And then Jackie Reddy, a Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Panoramic Properties, a relationship centered leader whose advocacy, authenticity, and care for her agents have built a culture of trust, collaboration, and success. So, Jackie, welcome. I'm excited, first of all, because I'm from Mississippi, and I love the fact that you are in our Gulf Coast where I went to school at Southern. So,
It's to
welcome.
the top. Thank you for having me, Teresa. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. Well, let's dive right in. And I always ask this question because I'm really interested in learning from each of you because, real estate is one of those businesses or areas that we don't always go to. It may be a second career versus something that we chose to do from the very beginning. So, the first thing I want to know is tell me a little bit about the company because a lot of people may not know you as well as I do. Tell me about your company, your market, where you're located, and what led you into real estate to begin with, and what led you to the leadership role that you have today. And I'm going to start with you, Marianne.
So we are located in St. Louis, Missouri. We service both St. Louis and across the river in Illinois. We have two offices. We have 565 agents. We have 10 offices, and we keep growing.
You
What
do.
led me into real estate? Well, that's a great question. I was drawn to real estate, I think, mainly because of the relationships and wanting to help people. And, when we interview people today, they'll say, I want to get into real estate because I love people and I love houses. Well, I was more at a very young age, started to have an interest in real estate and also found it intriguing on being able to build wealth from owning real estate. So I started off with buying some rental properties and investments, and then realized that you could help people by achieving their dreams, and not only buyers and sellers, but our agents. And I love helping people to build what they want to build in their careers. It's very fulfilling to me. And I don't think I started off wanting to lead a brokerage, but it just seemed that people saw something in me that maybe I didn't see. And they sort of started asking me, what do you think about, managing an office? And I was like, me? And then I started managing an office, and then I realized the reward that I was receiving by helping them being able to build meaningful careers. And then it just kind of came natural, advocating for agents and improving their systems and being able to build a culture and helping them when they were getting so busy and they needed to build a team. And so I enjoyed working with them on figuring out, what's falling through the cracks. What do you need help with? And sometimes they don't know themselves, and being able to recognize what they do best and what their weaknesses are, and being able to say, right now what you need is a transaction coordinator, because they immediately think, oh, I need a buyer's agent, I don't want to show property. But I think it's just because they haven't really sat down and been able to talk to someone and figure out what they actually need.
Well, MaryAnn, that first of all, that is such a talent, number one, that you knew early on that investing in real estate would lead to wealth creation. Not many people realize the connection. So amazing. And the fact that you're able to see what people need and the talents that they're missing and the talents that they have and how to use that best to fulfill their careers. I think that is awesome. And I commend you for that. It's a tough business. It really is.
Oh, it's tough.
It is. It is. It's a tough business, especially
Anybody
right
who
now.
tells you it isn't, they're lying.
That's right. It's tough. Amy, how about you? Because I know that you also came into this career and then really flourished as well.
Well, and Teresa, I'd love to say it had been a lifelong goal of mine, but truthfully, I began my career in media and got married, moved to Atlanta, and was really just trying to figure out what to do next. And so I got my real estate license and had never dreamed that it would take me into leadership. But I have a passion for problem solving, a passion for growing people. And so when the opportunity came along, I said yes. So I'm based in Atlanta. My primary region is actually in the southern crescent of Atlanta. So if you've flown it, if you've flown, you've likely flown to the airport. My market is about 20 minutes south of the airport. So on a daily basis, I'm responsible for about 117 agents. But we also have 5 offices, 3 brokers, and about 400 agents that we train, coach, grow, and work with every single day.
But the company is even larger than
The
that. So the
company itself,
footprint's all
yes, I
yes.
am one
Yeah.
part of our
Of-
leadership team. We have
yes.
about 1,300 agents, and we cover the entire metro Atlanta area.
Yeah. And by the way, the Southern Crescent, which Amy's involved with, is probably one of the largest growth areas in Georgia with all of the expansions that they've had. A lot of film industry has come into that
Yes,
marketplace. So
it's
again,
changed our market.
amazing. It has amazing. Jackie, how about you? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate.
Yeah, well, I got started about 16 years ago, come next month, and I was working as an economic developer for a small downtown in a town you may have heard of, actually, if you watch HGTV, Laurel, Mississippi. So it's the site now of Hometown. But at the time, I was working as the Main Street director of that program. And I was young. I did not know anyone. I had zero connections in the area. And I realized that by nature of my job, I was essentially acting as if I was a commercial real estate agent. I was showing vacant properties to investors from outside. And I said, I've got to get myself some credibility. No one knows me here. I don't know what I'm doing. So I went through the coursework, and my professor, through the classes I was taking, recruited me right away to come and work for her mom and pop brokerage. And it really was a side gig. It was something I did when I was able to, if I had someone who needed help, and really spent a lot of time not knowing what I was doing. Didn't really have the training. We didn't have sales meetings. We certainly didn't have a resource center, nothing to that effect. And so learned a lot of hard, I would say expensive lessons early on that now have purpose as the leader in the room. But at the time I had no idea, this is a really unusual way to make a living. We show homes that we've never been in before and do business with strangers, essentially. but it's never boring. So I eventually, after 7 years licensed, I went on to go on full time. And once I made that decision, there was a series of events that went from me becoming a managing broker to me purchasing the company from that owner from Ann Pruitt Realty. And so Panoramic Properties was born in 2021. And it's been an amazing journey, a short, fast journey so far as the broker.
Well, that's amazing. The fact that you started off with such a great show, which we all watch, is amazing. And Laurel, of course, has grown because of the show, and so has Gulfport, where you are located. So
Yes, that's right.
huge industries there as well. So one of the things that I always love to hear is it always looks easy. Like people look at you and go, she's got it easy. She's got it made. She's got her job. This is it. She's the owner of the company. But the truth is, we all face moments that tested, right? Tested us. So I want to know from each of you what, is what we often rise right from those moments too. So can you share an experience that you had, whether it's in this business, right, that changed you and the strength you discovered because of it? And I'm going to go back to Jackie and then Amy and then MaryAnn.
So, one of the biggest challenges that I faced in this business was actually through the purchase of the business because of the timing. So, we were in the middle of COVID. It was 2021, and I was a new mom. My oldest son has just turned 5 on Monday. And so I was a brand new mom learning the ropes of motherhood. I had given myself a sort of arbitrary 60 days of maternity leave. Like I gave that to myself and I said, please, no one call me unless everything is on fire. And they did. They really supported me, through that. But directly after opening doors, and you know how it is to open, right? There's a lot going on. Directly after opening doors as Panoramic Properties, I lost within 30 days my transaction coordinator, my personal transaction coordinator to some illness. And then our office manager became deathly ill to the point that we actually were told she may pass at any time. And she was hospitalized for 6 months after that. And so I went from having this great support system, getting ready to launch my brand new business to really having almost no backing and being a new mom and trying to figure
Wow.
this new role out. And so I look back and think, wow, that was business trauma. I didn't know it at the time while it was happening to me, but it was truly business trauma. And there might be some people along the way I have to apologize to for, what took place during that time because it really was a bit of a blur. But honestly, a saner person probably would have said, looking at these hurdles back to back to back, this is a
I
sign.
give up.
Keep going. Don't keep going. But failure was just really not an option. And I know that with leadership, there's a lot of skills that can be taught, but there often has to be. And I know that y'all see this in the leaders you have spied for your growth, for your companies. There's also got to be that born quality of just really believing that this is the
Mhm.
role that you were born to play, not necessarily to lead, but to help other people, right? And so that was just written on me, and I knew that I had to forge ahead. So yes, looking back, I maybe was crazy, but we survived that time period and we're better than ever. So it tested me. It was my fire.
Wow, that is a lot to go through. A new baby, and then two of the people that really had your back and that really worked with you to get sick and to leave the business. But again, you're here today and striving. So I love that. How about you, Amy?
Well, first I want to say, Jackie, I think maybe we share a trauma bond with the way we stumbled into this. For me, very similar. I had been in the business as a salesperson about 8 or 9 years, and truthfully, I loved it. My passion was really helping other people, training, teaching, mentoring, any opportunity I could get. And I had two young children at the time. And my sweet husband was with a startup company. And so he was working, no exaggeration, 50 to 60 hours a week, plus that commute in metro Atlanta traffic. Um, we barely saw each other. We were trying to run a household and do the best we could. And it was really hard. And I'm going to tell you, I remember thinking, it has potential for a big payoff. And the night that he came home and said, it's done, the company's closed. There's no more. There is no more insurance. There is no more paycheck. Not only is there no more paycheck, the check I was going to get, we pulled together to provide insurance for those under us for another month. And I remember sitting there with that lump in my throat thinking, okay, it's time to figure some things out. Now, backstory is that this entire time I had been looking for a higher purpose. I knew that I wanted to help, but we all want to help people. So what does that look like? And I had had some nudges from some people along the way and some kind of opportunities that I thought, no, it's not the time. And so as soon as he came in the next morning, I marched into my broker's office and I said, I'm in. Any opportunity, whatever you need, I'm in. I'm in 100%. It's sometimes the universe has to blow up your path to get your attention. I'm one of those people. And so I stepped into the role almost immediately as a sales manager and became a managing broker. Then was invited onto our leadership team. And I will tell you, it's the best decision of my entire life. And I've never loved anything more.
Oh, wow. Amazing paths, right? That adversity that you had to take, and very similar stories to many of our leaders who have been on the show, where something totally blew out, blew up, a path they thought they were going to have totally fell, and they had to decide on something that they felt they needed to commit to 100%. MaryAnn, how about you?
Well, I've faced a lot of adversity, and I think adversity is a great opportunity to grow, right? We all grow from adversity, but I think the most important thing is, when we started the company 24 years ago now, there was a lot of naysayers. We were never going to make it. We were going to fail. And we left a very strong company and started this company. And the agents would come in and they would say all the drama that they were hearing. And, I just knew then that you had to lead with transparency and convince them to, we're in no drama zone. We are here to make money. I'm going to teach you how to make money. And we are going to just continue to work because we are survivors. I think as a leader, you may not know all the answers, but one thing you can do is stay in charge, be transparent, and tell them that they're going to win. They need to hear that, and they need to hear that a lot. And I face adversity from not being aligned with someone that worked for the company, and that was more recent than when we started the company. And there was, of course, all the chatter among the offices, like what happened. And if you just tell them the truth, we weren't aligned, and so I felt like we needed to make a decision and move forward. But here's what we are, and then speak about who you are and what the vision of the company is and where you're going. And then, that's what they need to hear: a strong, steady, transparent leader. And I can't do that enough, and it teaches them too, that when they face adversity, that they need to be clear. And I use that a lot, and I probably use it more than I should. But I always say, is there any questions, and have I made myself clear? Because I'm happy to talk more about it if you feel like the message is unclear.
Well, first of all, your authenticity, I think, shines through, and the confidence that you have, which I think is really important. A different differentiator in so many leaders. And the fact that you said, you know what, I'm going to have to make the decision that this person doesn't align with our company, our goals, and our vision and my vision, and make the decision and then explain it to everyone. So many times that is hidden. Like that is hidden from people. And I think it's important for people to know why, because when the why is known, the how becomes easy, right?
Mhm.
So I think, first of all, kudos. I know that that was a tough thing that you had to go through. One thing that I see at the executive level is self-doubt. Sometimes that shows up. So when you faced a season where you doubted yourself or the path that you had, what helped you push through and continue leading with that confidence, MaryAnn? Because I know it had to be tough making that decision and moving forward.
Because you know what? I have to look those people in the eye. And I have to believe that they made the decision to be with us. They could go with any company out there, and trusted in us. And I tell them all the time, I feel very fortunate and very lucky that I get to serve them every day. I think an important thing about leadership is that you surround yourself with great leaders. And I learn from the agents every day. I learn from the leadership team, our employees. Heck, they're probably way smarter than me, that's for sure. But I have to look them in the eye and know that I'm doing what I can do to my utmost ability to make their lives better. And because they entrust that in us, I don't want to let them down, and if I hear something from the agents that, what do you think about this? And I listen, and then I try and help them if that's going to make it better for all of our agents. And I think systems and our tools, we constantly have to be looking at everything. Otherwise, we're going to be stagnant. And we can't be stagnant and not as fast as this market's moving. And with AI, I try and give them one little AI tip. It's just to help them be more efficient. We all know that AI isn't going to replace us, but it will make us more efficient.
Perfect, perfect. Jackie, how about you? Because I know being economic development, I worked with economic developers here in my real previous role, and then transitioning over. What are some of the things that you've seen that have helped you develop?
Really selecting the team and putting together a group where we can have a strong supported culture within our office. When I first started the company, I had this idea that we never wanted to replace anyone's family, right? Like I wanted to help them because of some of those lessons that I learned early on. We wanted to be able to give them their time back, essentially, like give them really great systems so that they could spend their time where it mattered the most. And that was really important for me from day one. So, with every possible recruit I sat down with, I said, hey, our job, my role here is not for this office to become your family. We want you to spend time with your family, right? But to give you the tools that help you meet your goals so that you can keep your priorities aligned properly. That was the idea, right? And what happened over the last 4.5 years, I think by respecting those boundaries so much and leaning into that, we did become a family. We became our own little family, which is amazing because we do have such a diverse office, people from all different walks of life. And I love that about us. But regardless of these backgrounds, we can all come together and be there for one another. And we don't look at each other as competitors, but we are pushing one another. So that was really unexpected because I thought, we're going to have these hard lines and we're going to keep everything really crystal clear on that. But in fact, having that respect for one another actually has made us our own kind of family system. So that's been a beautiful surprise to me. And like MaryAnn said, we're just constantly learning from our agents. They're showing us something new every day.
Well, first of all, I love that creating that culture right from the very beginning. And you are a family. I mean, all of us are family, as we connect in the industry that we're in and the goal of helping others in that search for homeownership, right? That's always, what I think unites us all. Amy, how about you?
Well, you just said something so powerful, and yet it's so simple as we're family. When I first stepped into leadership, we talk about self-doubt. I wanted to be everything to everyone. And yet I realized I was failing myself. I was failing those around me. I was even starting to fail my family. I struggled with that work-life balance and separation. It takes a toll on you every day when you wake up and feel like you're failing in small ways. And so I created this thing, and feel free to judge, of work-life blend. We're just all meshed together. That way my children didn't say, well, mom, you're on the phone again. And my agents don't go, oh my gosh, you're out with your child. My kids are teenagers now. They're becoming young adults, and it is not uncommon that after a business meeting, one of them will pop into the office, or my husband will call and go, hey, I've got to tell you something great. This is fantastic. Or maybe they just need a hug. We cherish those moments. Or they stop by. And my agents know their stories. At the same time, by blending these two, now my team, they may have an urgent situation. They may have to interrupt my dinner, and that's okay. They may call on nights or weekends. I think most recently I had the privilege of going to Switzerland, and I'm hiking on the top of a mountain and singing happy birthday to an agent. And we just kind of do life together. We know the names of our dogs and our children and what makes us tick. And it really has created this energy in the office that you can feel whenever you walk in. And I'm at the stage of my life where I'm not nearly as young as I was when I started. And so I'm into the stage called legacy living. And every single day, every single one of us have the chance to leave fingerprints on people. If you're having a bad day, congratulations, you're going to leave bad fingerprints. And can I change the world? I doubt it. But can I change 3 feet around me on any given moment? Yeah, I can totally do that. And so what you don't realize is that this is contagious and it spreads. And so even when the self-doubt is still there, sometimes it's good for us. It pushes us forward and forces us to get a little better. My goal every single day is to, at the end of the day, to be able to go, who did I leave fingerprints on today? And are the ones I'm proud of.
That's so beautiful, Amy. That really is. And I love that. I love that blended because I think it is. And I think one of the things, Marion, you talked about from the very beginning was AI and how, agent, one tidbit too, how it helps us. But the fact that you all talked about these relationships within our offices, within our people, within our families, that's where, AI will never be able to touch, that because that's true love and true caring. All right. So one question I always love to know is, you know, you've said, Amy, I'm no longer, young or, I'm at a different level, right? If you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be and what would you tell her to let go of? I
This
would start with you,
question
Amy.
is so hard, and yet it's so easy for me. So, right as I was transitioning from an agent into a management position, I had the privilege of going and hearing a national real estate speaker. And at the end of the week, he walked us through this visualization exercise. And sometimes you have to go all in on things, even though you're sitting around with 1,000 people or more. And it takes you through, okay, you're seeing yourself in 10 years, you're seeing yourself in 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. And you're visualizing what does it look like around you? Who's there with you? Who's not? What changes are there? And in this experience, you go and you meet your future self and you ask a question. What's one piece of advice you'd give me? And I remember this like it was yesterday. And that future self, that image in my head, looked me dead in the eye, um, with wisdom and with compassion, and said, remember, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, people matter. Treat them with kindness, treat them with integrity, and treat them with respect. And that's all you'll need to know. Everything else will fall into place.
Oh,
And I now swear by this as part of the way I lead, as part of the way I use this in my friendships, and it changed my world.
gosh, Amy, that's so deep. My God, to do that exercise and to have that still today and to be able to follow that path. And I think that is such a great, wise thing to tell people. I love it. Jackie, how about you?
I would not undo anything. Even the hardest lessons were so necessary, and I feel like they do get purpose now that I get to share that information with my agents, and they don't have to necessarily go through that same heartbreak to get there to learn the thing. But if I could go back and tell my earlier days self anything, it would probably be to protect your energy. Protect your energy, really keep your circle with an energy that you're seeking, right? Surrounding yourself with the right people, the right women, the right leaders, and preserving that almost at all costs, because as the business owner, as the business manager, everyone is counting on us, right? We do put extra pressure on ourselves, but we really have to make sure that we are able to pour from a cup with something in it, and that we haven't surrounded ourselves with people, even just one person with extremely negative energy that could drain that source. Something I learned, over the last 3 years is really be focused on that energy as you add people into the team, because you don't realize how the entire office is shifting with one person. And it really doesn't matter what their production is, because you can always go out and find more production, right? But you can't create energy from scratch if there's already been this negativity that's being shared. So, you really want to preserve that on not only a personal level, but within the culture of your office as well. And
So well said. So
priceless.
well said. Dan Forsman used to say, energy sucking vampires, stay
Yep.
away from them. So I think, right, which I think is so true. You really have to keep that culture and positivity because it's a tough business that we're in, and there are ups and downs in this business. MaryAnn, how about you?
I would say that I would tell my younger self to trust your instincts, because I think that having decisiveness and boundaries as a leader is so important. And not every decision may be favorable, but I think making the right decisions over time compounds, and you have to just make the decision and trust your instinct.
That is very, very true. And I think a lot of us go against that all the time. And I have said, MaryAnn, in my, even like when I was traveling, trust your instinct. If this doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right for a reason.
Mhm,
So say, trust it, right?
mhm.
Sometimes we were
Even
like,
with, oops,
go ahead, even with,
no, I was going to say, even with hiring,
yes.
when you're interviewing and, a little something comes up, you just got to trust it. I've hired people without listening to my instincts, and they've been wrong decisions. So, I've learned to just trust your instinct and don't second guess it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, another question that I want to know is what do you believe many leaders misunderstand about truly empowering others? This one, anyone who wants to answer it, because I think I just want it open to, whoever is willing to answer that question, because I think a lot of times there are misunderstandings about what it is to empower others.
I'll take that one. I think the two go hand in hand with your culture and empowering people. So, culture, I've been called queen of culture. I think people thought that was pizza parties and games in the office. And it's so not. It's about creating standards and accountability. It's celebrating wins. It's learning from your failures, and it's sharing those failures with others so that they don't make the same mistakes. It's the power of collaboration. And a dear broker friend of mine reminded me that one of the biggest compliments you can ever get in your career is when someone you've poured into and mentored advances. That's a reflection of you and the fingerprint you're leaving. So I think whenever you can empower others, it's a direct reflection on you too. And there's enough success for everybody in the room. Um, it's growing people, but more often it's about growing with them. And to me, that's incredibly empowering.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I know it's so true because when you see somebody else's success and you had something to do with it, there's no more satisfying feeling. It really is something that you can really say, hey, I did, like you were saying, that left my fingerprints on that person. All right, let's talk about what's real right now because today's landscape is changing, right? From the agent experience to individual leadership to the brokerage as a whole. We're testing each other every day. We're trying to figure out things. They're changing, right? Our business is changing, changed a year ago with our settlement. And today it's also changing with everything that's happening. So, what decisions are you making as a leader to help that concern? And what's your biggest challenge? And how are you addressing it? MaryAnn, I'll
I-
start with you.
Oh, did you say me or Amy?
No, you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, my biggest challenge may be different than others. However, I find that we have a lot of aging agents. And I believe that they think that they have a succession plan, but they don't. And they really don't want to talk about it, but they say they want to talk about it. And they think that they also have to find the ideal person or persons to be the succession plan, which I do agree that they need to have a good fit. Although I think that the conversation has to start with their database. And I've been focusing a lot on agents' database and preparing the largest asset that they have, and that's their database. And we are laser focused on their notes in their database because if they're serious about selling their business or having a succession plan, then they have to have their asset ready. And so we are really spending a lot of time on the succession planning and I think it's just very important.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And it's a big thing in our business because the average age of the agent today is like in their 60s, right? And
Mhm.
so recruiting young talent, recruiting individuals that are really interested in pursuing this business and having a mentor that's been there and is able to pass on that, those relationships that they've already developed, again, with that matching opportunity of personality and also service that that agent that has developed those clients will have has to be top of mind, MaryAnn, for so many.
Well, and to that, I've watched too many agents just one day turn the light out and they never come back. And then that business goes to several different agents that they've worked, 30, 40, 20 years developing, and they did nothing with it.
Wow,
Um,
really critical. Amy, how about you?
I agree with everything that MaryAnn said. As our agents are getting older, we always make the joke of, oh, realtors never retire. Well, why not? We really need to help them in that area. One thing that I see, and I feel like I'm surrounded by it, is distraction as a whole. There's a difference between staying a step ahead and chasing the shiny penny, between business evolution or having to reinvent every single year. And I think it's getting harder and harder to stay focused because think about it, we have so many things that are thrown at us. And now with AI, we can create just about anything, but we still need that art of human touch.
Mhm.
So it's hard to stay focused on what's really working and keeping it whole and keeping it real versus chasing something that's, oh, it's the new technology, it's going to be amazing. It's great, but understanding what problem we're solving in the first place.
And also with that said, also leaving a company because of the shiny penny instead of
Absolutely.
staying, right? I think it's so incredibly important that, agents think about, what they're doing and not always pursuing that, oh gosh, this gold over here. Jackie, how about you?
So I've spent a lot of time thinking about the agent lifestyle kind of holistically, like looking at what were my issues in years 1 to 5 and going, how do I get ahead of those things, right? And so we will bring CPAs to the firm. We will bring retirement consultants to the firm. All of the agents are independent business owners, essentially. So how do I help them be a better, first of all, see themselves that way, and secondly, be a better business owner? And really empowering them to set up their business within this company. And so I bring in experts to sit down with them to talk about those things. And really the forever agent training that is offered, I'm sort of doing a version of that with the agents specifically related to their career, right? To say, okay, look, you have all of this data at your fingertips. You have all of this resource. And if you're not becoming an investor yourself, right, then you're sort of missing out on setting up that exit strategy you were just talking about, MaryAnn. That can be one component of someone's retirement, right? And so really making sure that all of this income that they've produced over a lifetime isn't just easy come, easy go with no long-term retention plan of what to do. So just really sitting down with them one-on-one and saying, this is where you're at in your life. Here's where you're telling me that you want to go. We need to make sure that that includes a plan for your retirement, a plan for your real estate investment. We've got to make sure your taxes are handled. Like all of it, that basically the conversations I wish someone would have had with me as a brand new agent. You
That
know,
is
I,
just epic. I think that's amazing that you're
I
doing
have
that.
a lot of young agents. I do. And ironically, I think everyone assumes that, new to the business or new to adulting individuals are just technology obsessed. And truthfully, they also hate it. They
It's
also is that, I mean, hopefully that is encouraging, but they feel overwhelmed by it. It makes them anxious. They're tired of it. They've grown up with it, right? And so if I can take the time to actually sit down with them and have a real conversation, it's becoming a scarce resource, right? That they would get that kind of attention that is truly interactive. And so they do love that. And in 2026, we're really focusing on trying to provide for both our clients and me to the agents analog experiences. AI is a fantastic tool. Being able to meet digitally just like this, it's a necessity, right? But being able to actually sit down with one another and have those conversations is just so crucial.
Oh, I think that's amazing that you're doing that and so critical to every agent's need today because how can you teach others what you don't do yourself? So I think that's
Right.
amazing, right?
Mhm.
MaryAnn, I'm going to go very personal on 3 questions for each one independent. And then we'll wrap this up because we're running out of time. Can you believe this? So, you lead one of the most respected brokerages in the Midwest. How do you balance operational excellence with culture, and what do you believe has been the most critical to sustaining trust and performance across your organization and your agents?
I think that culture is an operational excellence. I think that people want to be accountable. And we do a really good job of making people accountable. It's a way for them to grow and improve. And so it's, I think that the culture too comes from being respected, heard, and then being supported. They know that, I mean, this is a woman-owned company, and Deb and I are very available. They know that they can reach out. I have agents say that to me all the time. We love that we can pick up the phone and call you, and you answer the phone and you hear us. And I think that that's what we offer and sets us apart than other companies. A lot of people say they have culture, but I believe we define it by what we do and how we care. I think it was Amy or maybe even Jackie both said it. We're a family. I mean, we know their kids' birthdays, we know, and we support them when their times are bad. We're there for them. We not only support the Sunshine Kids, but we support each other's family locally in times of need and our own communities. So I think it's important that we do that. Other companies may say that they offer a lot of support, but I don't believe that they do because our agents, when they're doing transactions with them, will say, this agent didn't know how to do this or this or this, and they couldn't get a hold of their broker or what have you. And anytime I call our broker, they answer the phone and they're there for us. And it means
That is
a
so
lot.
key, MaryAnn,
It
that is
does.
so key because I've called so many people, and I can tell you the ones that do not answer the phone, and I don't get it. I don't get it
Well,
in
and
this business.
we do what we say we're going to do. We don't just oversell and underdeliver.
I
We say our leadership team will answer their phone. Your broker's available. You're 24/7 and we're there. It's funny because you'll ask, hey, are you working with an agent that should be with our company? And they're like, oh my gosh, he was so bad. He cost his seller $6,000 on.
oh,
And I'm like, wait a minute, slow down. I said, who are they with? And XYZ company. Well, let's talk. They probably need us. They probably need to be trained by us. They need our support. You shouldn't just give me their name. Let's talk to them.
that's the perfect answer, right? Because if they're not getting it where they're at, they need to come to you where you
Right,
know you're going to get everything
right.
they need. Amy, how about you? You see multiple, oversee multiple markets in your region. And how do you stay connected? Because you've got your agents, you talked about that, but then you're also managing brokers that also need your support. And how does that shape what you do and the strategy and support your model?
Well, I think it starts by just asking the right questions. Don't ever assume that you know what someone needs if you haven't asked them. I want to know, what do you love? What are you doing really well right now? What are you loving about your job, your office? And then I also want to know, what's bringing you pain right now? Where do you feel like you're struggling? How can we help there? Then you can help bring solutions. Also, I see it all the time with again, that nature. We want to be everything to everyone. Don't be afraid to pull in help. There are days and weeks where I know I'm going to be spread really thin. The best thing you can do is bring in reinforcement because you're starting to grow other people around you. I want to know, if something were to happen to me tomorrow, who could step right in and not miss a beat? We're always training up, we're always training out. So make sure you're asking good questions and pause and actually listen,
I
respond.
love that. I love that. And the fact that you're pulling other people in to help you when you are not able to be there or support or whatever, I think that is very eye-opening because a lot of people don't see that, and that's where they fail. So again, Amy, thank you for sharing. And then Jackie, I think one of the things that has made you very special is that you have such great relationships with your agents and you advocate for them. So how have those strengths influenced your leadership style, and how do you show up in the way you can build and grow your brokerage even stronger?
So I do have a small brokerage compared to the other brokers that are here, which I guess gives me some advantages when it comes to being able to split my time amongst all of these individuals. And I'm really careful about that, right? I want to be able to give them the bandwidth that they need. Because if I'm not available, that they sense it, right? And so I am accessible to them. But when we sit down and do our business plans at the beginning of the year, if their goals aren't wild enough, I will push them. I will say, look, these are great goals. There's nothing wrong with these goals, but I need you to really dig deep to your inner child and let's get crazy here. Like, we really need to be pushing it. And it isn't about production. It's about what do you visualize? What sort of life do you want to see? It's not about acquiring items either. I mean, maybe it's a trip that you want to take, or maybe it's a nonprofit that you want to start. Like, let's go there together. And so if they bring me a crazy marketing idea, like, hey, we want to start a podcast, I'm in with them. 2026, my mantra has been do as I do, meaning I have to do all the things that I preach at them. So I have been on their podcasts. I'm helping them with their investor brunches, and I'm right there with my sleeves rolled up, ready to go. But it's really about making sure they feel safe having a wild goal or dream, and going after that and enabling them to get it done.
I think that is amazing that you're doing that, because a lot of times we don't push people enough. We know you can do more, so let's really dig deep, right? All right. Last question before we signed off. I'm going to ask you this one first, and just a real quick answer, because I think it's important to give credit to those people that have really influenced us and really made a difference in our lives and have shaped who we are. So, Amy, I'm going to ask you who, stands out that has really made a big impact on you and that you want to give credit to where you are today.
I've been wanting to do this for several years because I've had so many people, including brokers, who have poured into me, who I now have the pleasure of calling friends. So I'm going to say, Teresa, you may not know this. Shame on me for not saying it sooner. As a newer agent, when you were still doing corporate relocation, I called you on 3 occasions that stand out, and you would not know that I was on the brink of tears. I just didn't know how to find the next step. And you quickly reminded me, as Amy, this is not about you. The emotion they're exuding, these were international clients. This is about them moving to a new country and hoping their culture will blend with their neighbors. This is about them learning how to pump gas. And you gave me questions to go back and ask them that put them at ease and always made me feel like, hey, you're not broken. You're not stupid. This is just something new. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I've been wanting to tell you that for
Wow.
years.
That's going to make me cry. Gosh, I don't even remember doing that at all. But oh, thank you, Amy. That's very kind of you. Really is. Um, Gosh, I don't even know where to say, because I wasn't expecting that at all. Jackie, how about you?
That was very moving. Well, this one is probably going to sound a little bit cheesy, but it's actually my mom. So she immigrated to the United States after
Mm.
finishing college at the University of Manila, and came to Starkville, Mississippi, which only Teresa will know where that is. And part of there's a marketing story here. I'll be brief, but in the Philippines, she didn't realize it'd be common practice to send a handwritten letter as part of a marketing process, right? So they send out every year for recruitment these handwritten postcards saying, we really can't wait for you to come be a student here. So of all the programs, she was trying to study food science. She got the letter from Starkville, and she said, oh my gosh, they really want me. And that's how she picked that school of all the schools. So that's why I'm a Mississippian today. And she is someone who is so grounded. Every morning starts out the same way for her. And in spite of anything going on in her life, she wakes up really early ahead of anyone else in the house. And she meditates, she journals. She's 70 years old. She journals every morning. She prays for all of her loved ones. Okay. Her prayers are so powerful. And she just really sets her priorities and her intention for the day. And that is something that has built and really set her focus for a lifetime. So I'm hoping that I can live up to that. But yeah, she did the big brave thing, immigrated over here, and
Wow,
has
what a
just been my
huge,
role model.
I love that. So she's a bulldog, you're telling me.
Yes, yes.
Okay, girl. Love her already, Mississippi. Oh, that's beautiful. MaryAnn, how about you?
Oh, well, Jackie, you stole a little bit of my story. So mine is, well, two people, honestly, but would be my father, and he's deceased, but he was an immigrant from Italy, and he came over here, probably the hardest working person that I know, and gave his children a very good life. But I have to tell you, so a little bit of my DNA being in real estate was kind of started with him, back, and he's been deceased now for 40 years. However, he would buy investment properties. And as kids, we would have to get in his truck and go clean the halls of the apartment buildings. And so I learned at a very young age, you're going to work. And we did work. And he taught me some great work ethics. And I try and pass that on to my granddaughter today about life lessons. And so anyway, he would do some basic things. He was in construction, and in the wintertime, when he didn't have a lot of business, he would go back to his past customers and he would go deliver gifts to them, and he'd pick up inside jobs doing this. So at a very young age, he would take me with him. He was teaching me, how to work your sphere of influence, right? And just some really good basic lessons. And I think he was pretty amazing. And I think about him all the time today when I work and think, what would my dad do? And, he's a survivor and I'm a survivor, and it takes a lot of grit. And we have to have a lot of grit in this business. But then the other one would be my business partner, Deb. And she's my confidant. She always sees in me more than I see in myself, even to today. Every time I get in front of the company and do a speech, she'll tell me, that was your best ever. And I'm like, Deb, you said that to me last time. But anyway, it's just really been important to me to have her by my side as well.
Wow. First of all, a tribute to your father. I think that is, Italians, that immigrant background, right, is so beautiful because hard work is what was proven for them to really make it in this country and pass it on to us. I'm the daughter of immigrants as well. So, all right, as we wrap up really quickly, we only have a minute. What is a quote, a book, or podcast that you believe that somebody else needs to either read or that really has influenced your leadership? Jackie, I'll start with you.
I really love the book Atomic Habits, and it is just simply about those little incremental, attainable changes that you can actually do to get through your productivity and build something without getting crazy. It just breaks everything down in such a beautiful way. I think James Clear is the author on that one, but yeah, check it out if
A
you haven't.
great book. MaryAnn?
I would say a principle, and I think I have a lot of books, but I think you got to lead with integrity, even when it's hard.
I love that. I love that. Amy?
Give you a principle. Words matter. So the language we use shapes how people see themselves.
Oh, first of
Mhm.
all, thank you all. This has been my heart is so full, and my notebook is even fuller with all the notes that I've received from each of you. Thank you again for your honesty, all of you, your vulnerability, and your leadership. You truly embody what it does mean to be steadfast leaders, and I'm honored to share this space with all of you. Thank you again for
Thank you.
watching and for being here. And thank you all for joining us today. I really do appreciate this, and I want to leave you with a reminder. Steadfast leadership isn't about perfection. It's about presence, purpose, and people. If today's conversation inspired you, please share it with someone who needs it. You can watch the replay and past episodes at womenwholeadseries.com and also on our YouTube channel. And remember our podcast. This becomes a podcast in a week. Womenwholeadpodcast.com. So mark your calendars. Our next diversity program is Diversity Matters, and it airs on the 28th of the month. And then Women Who Lead will return on March 11th with a new panel that will also be inspiring. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, everyone, keep leading, keep lifting, and never forget the power of your story. I'm Teresa Palacios Smith, and this